Absolutely everything about that night had them on edge. Every one of them knew someone was going to be murdered. What they didn't know is how many of them were going to be left alive by morning. The band of men have already moved way behind the enemy lines. And now everything gets sort of cloak and dagger. Everything changes pace. He wants two of them to go inside the enemy's headquarters. I've got a guy inside, and he picks them, you and you. I want you to go up to the gate. Keep your heads down, keep your cloaks pulled over. They'll be looking for all of us. Two of you should be able to get close. My guy on the inside will be carrying a jug of water. Wait for him. And they look up questioning. No offense, but men don't carry water at that time in that place. Women carry water. And he nods as if he understands. That's how you'll know him. Follow him to the location. Just tell him, I want to know if the room's ready. And that's all they get. And two of them now take their cloaks around the collars, pull it down over their eyelids, keep their faces toward the cobblestone, and the closer they get to the huge walls of the empire, the more crowded the crowd gets. You see, everybody has tried to make it to the city for this time, for this year. Jerusalem will swell 20 times its normal population because everybody wants to celebrate Passover inside this city at this time. And the closer you get to the gates, the closer you get to the crowd of people trying to find spots and spaces, those that need to go into the markets and make sure that all the preparations for the meal, every family will be celebrating the exact same meal. They've been doing this for 1,400 years. For 1,400 years, the Jewish people have gotten together once a year and they celebrate the passing over, or you may have heard it called the Passover. See, one time your people were enslaved by the greatest empire in the known world, by Egypt, untouchable. And yet your God said, I'm bringing you home. You're done being slaves. And he brought plague after plague after plague on Egypt until Pharaoh finally said, get up and get out. You see, the last plague was going to be a doozy. I'm going to bring death to every household, every firstborn son. And the only way you're going to get out of this is if you kill a lamb and you put blood all over the doorpost. My angel of death will pass over any house covered with blood. You bring your family inside the blood. You stay in there. You hunker down that night. Whatever lamb that you killed, you eat it that night, and you get ready to run. I'm busting you out. And for 1,400 years, this group of people have been celebrating the passing over that saved you from slavery, that saved you from bondage. And two men now are left with the cloaks of their eyes and the big gates of the mighty city as everyone tries to celebrate this celebration, this feast around Jerusalem. And it's a woman with a water jar woman. Here comes a water jar woman, water jar woman, water jar guy. And as the man passes through the city gates, the two will quickly go out and follow, keeping about 6 or 8 people in between. Once you get through the large gates, the little streets, we would call them alleyways, get narrower and narrower. Now it's the stench of human flesh and body odor. Now it's the Middle Eastern sun baking off of the brick walls and the heat that's dripping down on your forehead. And they're keeping an eye on that jug. It's 3 blocks down and 1 block to the right. After 1 block to the left, it's another short left and then a smaller right. Now it's no more than the width of a sidewalk with doors every so often. And the water jar disappears as the man puts it on the stoop and fumbles for the lock. And that's when they stand forward. The master wants to know if the room is shh, and there's a hush. The owner of the house quickly checks up and down the street. Did anybody hear that? Did anybody else hear that? The life of my wife and my kids rest on tonight being absolute secrecy. I have an upper room. You guys are allowed to use it. But the price that's on your leader's head right now is a price that's on my family if it's found out. And when it's obvious that no one on the street seems to have heard it, no one on the street seems to care because they're all busy about what they have going on, it's a nod of the head. And with the nod of the head, they quickly go beside the house. There's a wooden stairway that goes up, and there's an upper room. It's got a large horseshoe type table in the middle of it, cushions all around the outside. The owner tries to promise them, I've done the best that I can, the rest is up to you. But no one will know that you're here. And as soon as he's led the two in, he goes back out. And we have all the makings for the famous painting. You've seen it, haven't you? The Last Supper, 13 dudes on one side of the table. The guy in the middle has got a big silver plate behind his head. Man, I have hung out with dudes my whole life. I have hung out with guys in every situation and surrounding I know, and we have never sat 13 of us on one side of the table, ever. I'm sorry, Leonardo da Vinci, it's a great painting, but it sucks as dudes hanging out. That's not the way it was done. Everything in that Roman Empire for every feast and celebration would have been a U-shaped 3-table setup. And where you sit has meaning and importance. Where the most important person in the room sits means the next most important will be to his right. The second most important would be to his left. That will be in an order around the other side of the table, and those least important will sit across the opening of that horseshoe. And when it's nightfall, the rest of those 12 disciples will come in by ones, twos, and threes. If anyone finds out where Jesus is, they can make a lot of money tonight. You see, for the last 3 years, this guy's been changing an empire. For the last 3 years, this guy has spoken to men, big, burly-chested dock workers who move wooden ships by hand for a living, have sat on those docks and listened to that man speak. And it's as if creation was hearing from Creator and something was starting to click. And men would leave their boats and their nets and follow a dude like that. It's not just the type of teaching that's making sense to men. It's what he does in between the teaching. This guy can step out onto the waves and walk on the sea. This man has fed 5,000 people out of a G.I. Joe lunchbox. He'll pass inside the city gates and look at people that are begging, and he'll spit a loogie and put it in the mud, and he'll put it on a blind man's eyes, and he'll bring sight. And for 3 years, the country's being rocked with what do you do with this guy? But he won't fight the way they want him to fight. He won't fight with the political powers that are running the country. He won't pick a side. Instead, he's taking a stand. So all the political powers get together and decide we got to get rid of the guy. He won't be a Pharisee. He won't be a Sadducee. He won't be an Essene. He won't be a Zealot. He won't be a Herodian. Everyone wants him to fight. Everyone wants him to storm the city and kick Roman butt because your people are tired of being imprisoned and enslaved. But it's obvious it's not his agenda. And so the religious leaders have put a price on his head. Find out where he's staying, away from the crowd. We don't want a riot. We just want him. And some guy on the inside has said, you can use my upper room. And I know it's at stake. And under nightfall, every one of them will make their way up the steps. They will open the door to that famous Last Supper. They will look to the left. They will look at the table. They will look down to the left, and they will realize where you sit makes a difference, and they will quickly go to the table. The next two disciples that will come up the stairs to the upper room will open the door. They will look down to the left, the table, down to the left, and realize spots 1, 2, 3, and 4 are already being taken. We got to get 5 and 6. And one by one, they will fill up a table in order of importance. And on that very last night of freedom in Jesus' life, he will do something for men and ask men in return to do the same. That has changed the world as we know it for 2,000 years. And it's the same thing he's going to ask you tonight. Because he doesn't change. He hasn't gotten smarter. He hasn't gotten wiser. He hasn't figured out men better. He is God. So what he asked for his men to do that night is what he asked for his men to do today. The scene is set for John chapter 13, if you got a Bible. We're in the back. Look for the guys' names, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I don't expect you to have one. I'll read slow. You came for cars, you came for food, you came to hang out. This is the word of God, and it starts like this. In John 13, it says it was just before the Passover feast, and Jesus knew that the time had come for him to leave this world. And he was going back to the Father. And having loved his own who were in the world, he now showed them the full extent of what love was. So the evening meal was already being served, and the devil had already prompted Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, to betray Jesus. And Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God, and he was returning to God. So, stop right there, set the table. In the midst of this meeting, in the midst of what's happening, Jesus drops a bombshell to these guys that are sequestered in the upper room. My betrayer is sitting here amongst us. And the 12 that have walked with Jesus for 3 years, go. Now, if you know a little bit about this story, you immediately go, oh yeah, Judas. Judas is the bad guy in the story. But that night, none of them thought Judas was the bad guy in the story. When Jesus goes, somebody in this room is going to betray me, they didn't all go, Judas. I knew there was something about you, because he's got this long pointy nose, these beady eyes when he walks, like this tail comes out from under his toga. I mean, he's just a bad dude. No, Judas was the guy that was in charge of their money. He was their CFO. In fact, he was probably one of the most trusted of all the disciples. When Jesus said, my betrayer is sitting here, every disciple quickly looks and realizes it can't be any of you. No way. And they all start asking, is it me? Am I going to screw this up? Am I going to blow this? I love men. No matter how long you've been walking with Jesus, there's still this little voice that goes, you can screw this up. You can jack up this whole thing right now, can't you? One wrong turn, one stop here, one night here. There's a little voice in my head all day long that just says, don't screw this up. Don't screw this up. My wife kisses me goodbye every morning and says, oh, honey, we love you. Don't screw this up. She doesn't do that, but that's the voice I have in my head, and it sounds a lot like Amy all day long. And they all start asking, is it me? Is it me? And John leans over because he's the one sitting next to Jesus, and he goes, hey, who is it? And Jesus says, it's the one I'm going to dip this bread in and give to. And he dips it in and he gives it to Judas. And only John is privy to this. And he tells Judas, what you have to do, get up and do it quickly. And Judas leaves the room. And the clock in the wall starts ticking. He's got to go back about a half block to the left. 3 blocks now across Main Street. It's going to be about 4 blocks to the right. He's got to get to Caiaphas' house, the high priest. He's got to tell Caiaphas where we are tonight. Caiaphas has got to get religious leaders together. They themselves cannot do anything because they're under Roman rule. The religious leaders of Jerusalem then have to go to the Praetorian Guard. They have to convince the guard that Jesus is a troublemaker and the city's about to riot. So the guard has to come back to the house. And it's going to take about, 15, 18 minutes. So Jesus has about 12. Because if they come and take Jesus inside a crowded city, all hell is about to break loose. And there will be bloodshed and countless bodies. You come and take a well-known, famous miracle worker on the night where every family is celebrating God's redemption, the city is a powder keg waiting to explode. And Jesus knows he's the only one that has to go down for this program to work. Men, I have 12 minutes to tell you everything you need to know about being a man. And then we got to get across the valley and we got to get up to the garden. There they can take me alone. And Judas has just left. And the evening meal has already been served. And Jesus knows all power has been given to me. It's go time. The evening meal has already been So the meal has already been Have you guys understood that right now the evening meal has already been served? Has the meal already been served, yes or no? Yes. Any devout Jews in here? I married into a Jewish family. It's a beautiful thing. They catch this story a little quicker than we do. I don't make a good Jew. The evening meal has already been served. And every man in that room has flunked the test. And Jesus, knowing all power and authority has been given to him, so he gets up from the meal. He took off his outer clothing. He wrapped a towel around his waist. And after he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. And he came to Simon Peter, who said to him, Lord, are you going to wash my feet? And Jesus replied, you do not realize now what I'm doing, but later you'll understand. No way, said Peter, you're never going to wash my feet. And Jesus answered, unless I wash your feet, you have no part with me. Then Lord, Simon Peter replied, not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well. And Jesus said, a person who has had a bath needs only to wash their feet. Your whole body is clean, and you are clean, though not every one of you, because he knew he was going to betray him, and that's why he said not every one. You see, the evening meal has already been served. This house is in Jerusalem, inside the city, and it's got at least 2 floors on it. The upper room is completely enclosed. Do you realize the opulence of this house in first century? Do you realize the wealth of this house in first century? To live inside the city, location, to have not just a place, not just an apartment, but to have a house that has 2 floors and the second floor is enclosed and it's big enough for a group of 13 to have a dinner party. Oh, this is a wealthy house in first century Judea. And that's why every disciple, the moment they came in the door, they looked down to the left, they looked at the table down to the left, and they tried to get their seat. Because there, just inside the door, was a pitcher of water, a large round wash basin, and a set of towels. And the moment every disciple came to the house in that second floor, he realized you've got to have your feet washed, but the table's filling up. Someone's got to wash your feet, but the table is filling up. And the foot washing equipment is left, but there's no foot washer. You see, that's the lowest person in the house. It's the lowest slave that you have. And the reason why foot washing was such a big thing, we've made it into a big spiritual thing, and that's okay, but it wasn't spiritual. It was common sense. It was courtesy. It was respect. You walked in sandals amongst the streets. We're not talking concrete and pavement. We're talking down matted down earth. But you do realize the transportation in the first century, right? Cattle, horses, donkeys, oxen, the amount of sheep, lambs that had to be herded into those roads to be sacrificed in the temple for the Passover. You do realize the type of, how do we say this? The type of emissions that those vehicles give off, right? Right? You do realize what those roads are caked with, right? You do realize what that concrete is made out of. And you understand there's no plumbing in the first century. So everyone does their business in a pot, and then that is thrown out in the street. Why is it thrown out in the street? Because no one understands about microorganisms, bacteria. That's not in existence back then. There is no microscience. So you walk in sandaled feet on, can I say crap? And you walk on crap all day long. And it's matted down, dried crap, and it gets all over your toes, and it gets on your ankles, and that's what the dust is. And now you're coming in to the high rent district. You're coming inside the city to a 2-story house. You don't bring your crap in there. And there needs to be a crap boy. His job when you walk in the door is to kneel. You lift a leg and you offer it to him. He will grab you right at the bottom of the calf and he will steady you. He will untie your laces on your sandal and he will pour water starting at mid-calf down. And his job is to take his hands and to wash whatever crap you've brought in here. And when he's done with one foot, he will gently guide you to rest your weight on the towel. And he will dry it. And he will reach out and you will offer him a second. And the same routine will be done over and over again. But here's the problem. The evening meal has already been served. The time for foot washing is long gone. They've carried their crap and their sandals into the second floor. They've reclined. They don't sit in chairs. They've reclined on cushions on their left elbow with their feet right next to the guy sitting next to him, and his next to him, and his next to him. And since the evening meal has already been served, Jesus excuses himself. And he gets up and he walks to the door. And there's a silence that falls over the table. And he grabs the pitcher, the towel, and the wash basin, and he turns. And every man in the room is thinking the exact same thing. Don't give it to me. Don't give it to me. Don't make me number 12. Don't make me number 12. And as he comes to the table and sets it down, and the knees of the Son of God hit the floor, and hands that are about to be pierced on the cross start untying laces, there is a shock up the spine of every man at the table. And he starts to pour the water. And he makes himself number 13. And he makes himself the crap boy in the room. And he washes a set of feet after feet after feet. And no one can say a word until he gets to Peter. And all Peter can say is, not mine. You're not touching my crap. Not mine. And he looks up and says, Peter, unless I wash your feet, you're not going to be a part of this. Well, then wash all of me. And he goes, look, stupid, you don't need a bath. I'm sorry, stupid's in the Greek. You don't need a bath. That's not what this is about. And they sit in silence. This is unheard of, it's unthought of. This is very un-Christ-like. This is anti-Jesus. This is anti-God. You have the power, the position, and the authority. You don't do this. And just so we get tonight what he wanted them to get that night, he makes it crystal clear. When he had finished washing their feet in verse 12, he put his outer cloak back on and he returned to his place at the table. Do you understand what I have done for you? He asked them. Silence. You call me teacher and you call me Lord. Oh, and rightly so. That is who I am. But now that I, your Lord and your teacher, have washed your feet, you should also wash one another's feet. I've set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Oh, I tell you the truth. No servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if, circle, highlight, underline, you do them. Do you have any clue what I've just done for you, man? I don't have a place culturally to put what you've done for me here. And then let me explain it. I have all the power, the authority, and the position in this room. And I've used it to make myself least in this room and to serve you. Now, if that's beneath you, you're greater than me. If that's beyond you, then you're better than the master. If you can't do this, then obviously I'm less than you. But men, let me tell you where your blessing will come from in life. Not if you know it, not if you understand it. But here's a command from God from the last night in the upper room to his men. You will be blessed if you can do this. But it's anti-you. It's going to go against you. Oh, from Mark chapter 8, 9, and 10, the whole way up to Jerusalem, we've seen the disciples arguing. His men have been arguing about who is the greatest. He stops them on the road and says, let me tell you, we're going to Jerusalem. I'm going to hand myself over to the chief priest, the religious rulers, and the Romans. I'm going to allow them to mock me, beat me, spit on me, put me on a cross, and kill me. And 3 days after they kill me, I'm going to pull off Easter. He tells them that. He tells them that on the way to the city. Something's about to happen in Jerusalem that's going to make your head spin. It's going to throw you completely upside down. And when all hell is breaking loose in your life, I want you to know heaven is calling the shots. I'm in charge of what you're about to see. That's what I've come to do. Everyone wants me to ride into that city. Everyone's going to take their palm branches and throw it down. That's why we still have Palm Sunday. Why do people have palm branches? Because that's what you could find in Jerusalem. No, Jerusalem is higher elevation. How many palm trees do you have in Big Bear? That's right, 0. So why are there palm branches? Because so many people have come to Jerusalem, you have to bring building material with you to stay outside the city. And we've all watched Survivor and Alone. If you need a temporary dwelling, what do you build it out of? Palm. It's strong. You can carry it down from the Middle East. You can carry it from the lower regions. You can drag it with you, and you can make a shade covering for you and your family for a few nights. And when Jesus rides in the town, they take their building material and they're throwing it down in front of him. Save now, save now, come with power, bring the kingdom. Save now, come with power, bring the kingdom. Kick Roman butt, kick Roman butt. Set us up as a power, set us up as a power. And the crowd is chanting. And at the end of that Palm Sunday and that parade, Jesus cries because his men don't get it. That's not what I'm coming to the city to do. I'm coming to lose, not to win. I love the opening videos. I love me some Braveheart. Love me some Gladiator. Love me some Russell Crowe. Love me guys on horses riding through crowds, just kicking butt, taking names, kicking in doors. And Jesus refused. He came to lose. He came to lose his reputation. He came to lose his position. He came to lose his power. He came to lose his authority. And on that night, the armies of heaven are standing around Jerusalem, waiting for a wink, a nod, a whisper. And he has them stand down so he can lay down. You don't understand what I've done for you. I've just given you the key to power. It's to surrender. It's to serve. And men, it goes against who you are because you're like a disciple. You want to know who's the greatest. You want to know who's 1 through 12. You want to know what do I get from it? What does Jesus going to do for my life? How's he going to bless my life? How's he going to bless my career? And he goes, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. And he's told us that going up to it. Anyone who wants to save his life has to lose it. But if you're about your career, if you're about God blessing this life, he goes, then you're going to lose it. I'm calling you to a different way of fighting. In fact, at the end of this chapter, he's going to ask them. When Judas was gone in verse 31, Jesus said, now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. And if God is glorified in him, then God will glorify the Son in himself and will glorify him at once. I don't know what all that means, but there's one word that comes out. Glory, 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 glory. Judas has just left the room, and Jesus goes, the clock is ticking. I got about 12 minutes. It's go time. Men, from this point on, you're going to see who I am. You're going to see why the Father sent me. You're going to see me lifted up, and you're going to see the plan of God. What you're about to witness is glory, 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 glory. Your life's going to be shattered. You're going to run in the dark. You're going to think they captured your leader. You're going to think they killed a guy that you thought was God, but obviously he wasn't because he died without a whimper. And I want you to know this is the plan. And here's what I'm going to leave you with. So a new command I now give you. You love one another as I have loved you. So you must, circle, highlight, underline, love each other. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciple if you can make yourself number 13 in a group of 13. Then they're going to know you must be one of his. But I want to fight. I want to fight for greatness. I want to be in a group of men and see where I match up. I want to see what you own and what you drive and what I own and what I drive. Where you can take your family on vacation, where I can take my family on vacation. And we're constantly amongst men and we're looking at how do I match up? And how do I get more Jesus on my life so he can bless my kingdom? And that sounds weird when I say it out loud in church, but my prayers give it away. God, because you died on the cross, thank you. Now bless my life. And Jesus goes, did you read the Warrior's Manual? I'm asking you to do something the world can't do. Men, don't try to fight the world. You will lose that battle every time because we can't fight like the world. I can't use its language. I can't use its tactics. I have to ask permission to say crap in church. Man, don't try to fight like the world. We can't fight like the world. It owns fighting. It expects fighting. You know what's going to set you apart? When you love the way the world cannot love. When you get around each other and you love each other the way the world will not love each other. When you make sure there's no division amongst us, I don't care who you are, what color your skin, where you came from, and what you've done. I don't care if you lead a chapel or you accepted Christ in a chapel in prison or you've never been to chapel. I'm loving you as he loved me with his spirit and his power to love you. Now the world can't touch that. And he goes, then the world will know you're with me. You're with me. You're with me. You're with me. But I'm a man. I worry about my title. And Jesus says, here's what you do with your title. You call me teacher and Lord. Rightly so. That is who I am. Now you drop your title and you pick up a towel. And that's what men do with authority. That's what men do with title. That's what men do with position. I know it's beneath you. So is Jesus. But that's when you'll be blessed. That's when you'll find a freedom and a success that you're not going to find any other way. You just got to ask yourself, is the woman in your life adored, radiant? Does she think she's the most lovely woman on the face of the earth simply because you are present and your words lift her to that place? Are your kids secure and strong simply because you're in their life and you've served them? They're not there to serve you. She's not there to serve you. Well, Chris, I'm head of the house. I'm the man of the house. And rightly so. Now pick up a towel. Pick up a towel. Are the men in your life better? Because you look out for them, not just yourself. Are your parents respected and affirmed because you exist? It's almost laughable to go down the list because in America, I want the video. In America, I'm the guy on the horse. In the America, I suck with the sword, but I want the spiky bowling ball on the chain. In America, I walk into the room and I kick butt, and you better know Chris Brown's in town. And don't mess with me. And Jesus goes, have you read me? Where'd I do it? Oh, kid, I came to lose. I came to surrender. I came to die. I came to give it up. And the world can't touch that. And if you think losing and laying it down is a cop-out, look what he's pulled off in 2,000 years. The greatest loser of all time. His own people the next day will vote for Barabbas to be released and him to be killed. His board of 12, laughable. One commits suicide, the other 11 run away. One comes back to curse him 3 times. But that's his elder board. What's left after 3 years of great miracle and teaching? A couple women crying at the cross. And he hangs there and says, it's finished. And in that moment, we would all agree, it sure is. This is probably the greatest failure of all time. You did not live up to your potential. And he didn't. Jesus' potential is to last longer than 3 years. Jesus' potential is not to be easily killed. Jesus' potential is not to be mocked. Jesus' potential is not to be nailed on a beam of wood. Jesus' potential is not to have a crown of thorn on his head. Jesus' potential is not to be killed like a common criminal. But he didn't pursue his potential. He pursued his calling. And he said, that's finished. And 2,000 years later, we're about to come to Thanksgiving. We're going to watch bad football on a Thursday, falling asleep because I ate too much turkey and stuffing. Because a group of people for religious freedom set off across to a distant land. And even though most of them died that first winter, the few that survived will have a table giving thanks. And we still can't get that off our calendar. We're going to turn the page a month and a half later, and we all have to buy gifts for people that should be giving us something instead of socks. Why? Because teenagers in absolute poverty gave birth to a kid when they weren't married. You know how many millions of people have pulled that off? But one, 2,000 years ago, we can't get off our calendar. His birthday. It's still the number one economy boost in America today. His birthday. 3 months later, we're going to hide baskets for the kids. We're going to dye eggs. I don't know where that came from. My little dude's always going to eat the butt of the bunny first, and he thinks it's funny, and it was for the first 3 years, but now you're 18. Knock it off. And I don't know how you celebrate it, but because he lived up to his calling and 3 days later he pulled off Easter, it is still on our calendar today. Every time you sign and date something, you have to claim Jesus. I just did 17 bank documents at my office. And by the 9th one, it hit me. The bank makes me sign Jesus every single time. 2023, 2023, 2023, 2023, 2023 to what? This night split time. This night separated the calendar. Everything before Christ to everything AD, Anno Domini. I know they use BCE now. That's stupid. We know why it was there. It goes back to him. You cannot date anything without it saying something happened 2023. What have you done with that? Many of us call him Savior, and we'll raise our hands and sing to him. But I'll also get up in the middle of the night and go get a drink of water, and down there I'll stub my toe. Jesus Christ. That's amazing. How amazing did you have to be a swear word 2,000 years after you died? How amazing do you have? I'm not condoning it. Young man, I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying, who else do you swear by? I was never doing something at home. I'm like, oh, Benjamin Franklin. And my wife's like, Chris, we do not BF in this house. I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry. Oh, but that hurt. Now your kids are going to Benjamin Franklin, thanks. We do not swear by great people, great leaders. One name is Savior or swear word. Because he said, I've come to lose it. I've come to surrender. And men, I'm going to ask you. I want you to suit up in my armor as warriors, but that armor is not offensive. That armor is so your knees can hit the floor. And you have the guts to wash the feet in your life. And it's going to take courage because you're going to take shots. It's going to take armor because people are going to want to abuse that. See, the reason why no disciple washed their feet, because the moment you wash your feet, you have become the crap boy. And the moment you wash your feet, every disciple is going to walk in the door and go, now we know who number 12 is. Thank you very much. And Jesus says, then I'll take 13, because the evening meal has already been. I often wondered, with the blood that Jesus will shed in the next 24 hours, if his first drops weren't at that table. When he sat there and bit his lip, watching every one of his men come through that door. You saw the basin and you saw the towel. You saw the basin and you saw the towel. Oh, Father, let one of them pick it up. And they've all failed the final exam. So he will get up. he will say, you will not understand what I'm doing. But you have to sign and date 2023 to remind you, this is how you win. And when you can love and serve as I have loved you, you don't get to pick who you love. You don't get to pick when you love. And you don't get to pick how you love. You must do this as a new command. Then people will take notice. You must be one of his. And some will abuse you. And some may even spit on you. And some will mock you. In the church world, we call this servant leadership. And that's pathetic. We've made servant an adjective to my noun, leadership. And Jesus says, I didn't give you an adjective. I told you to be the servant. That's your position. It's a noun. It's not what you do, it's who you are. Men, we have got to redefine our career and our calling so at the end of this life we can say it's finished. It's finished. Your career is what you do for a living. Your calling is how you're supposed to live. Your career is where you go to work. Your calling is where God works, in and through you. Your career is temporary. It's why so many men get to the end of it and we can't let it go. We don't know who we are outside of our career. We were supposed to not to find our identity in our career. Your calling is eternal. And that we cannot lose. I hate to break it to you. Please take this lightly. Somebody else can do your career. You do realize that, right? I mean, come on. When you die, it's like, well, no one else can fix tires. This thing's going to come to a standstill. Shut up. Not a one of you are sitting here and go, I'm the only one in the world that does my job. And if you are, there's at least 20 guys waiting for you to die then so they can do it. Someone else can do your career. No one else can touch your calling. He has put people in your life. He goes with your title, with your authority. I need you to pick up a towel. We're not good at that as American men. It goes against who I am and how I operate. I want to know where I stand 1 through 12. I want to be James and John and pull Jesus aside and say, hey, can you make us 1 and 2? I want people to recognize me when I walk in the room and people to wash my feet. Because as a man, that strokes my ego. That means I've made something. I've obtained something. And Jesus, in the spiritual gift of sarcasm, says, well, I guess you're greater than your master there, Chris. And I guess you finally graduated beyond me. Let me ask you a question. How's your blessing? Not what you have in life. Your relationship with God. How's your contentment? How's your joy? How's your heart? You lost it trying to find a career. You're one of a billion. I've given you a calling to join something of significance, an army of surrender that gives purpose. And we don't like surrender. My older brother used to chase me around every time I stole or took something of his. I would always try to make it to the bathroom because there's one door and it had a lock. It had water. I could live for a few days. But if he ever got a hold of me before I got to the bathroom, the only thing I could do is go face down and grab the carpet. But he would overpower me and rip me with carpet shreds in my fist. And he would throw one arm under one knee and one arm on the other. And I would just sit there and squirm. And he would slowly let the drip of the spit come down. Suck it up. Come down. And you don't dare open your mouth because you will taste the spit of your older brother. And he will take his knuckle right there in the chest. And as he's dripping spit all over my face, I had to say whatever phrase he came up with. I am not an easy guy to crack. I will let you dehydrate on me. but inevitably the pain and the tears. And I hated surrender. I hated tapping out because it meant you were defeated. It meant you lost. It means now you have no more hope. But isn't the definition of surrender changed by who you're surrendering to and what? What if your surrender is to your Creator? And what you're surrendering to is the very thing He created you to do. To find a purpose you'll never find in this life. To find the type of marriage you will never pull off. To find a hope in singleness that you can't have on your own. To find something to give to your kids because your own masculinity will never be enough. What if it's who you're surrendering to? And the what is eternal and significance. And to join the ranks of those that look a little different today. Because we want men to be something greater. And you've become something less. And what if surrender was daily? Not a one-time prayer. But God, every day I want to pick up my title. And I got to choose to grab a towel. I have a work towel that sits on my desk, a shop towel. It reminds me of all the times Dad had me out in the garage pulling engines in and out of our old broken cars in West Texas. And I have a red shop towel that simply has my wife's name in one corner, my children's name in another, my church's name in another, and a cross at the very top. Just to remind me, your job's to work for others, kid. Get dirty, get messy, serve. And if you're sitting here going, why would a man do that? It's because you don't understand the next 48 hours. This Jesus will back it up by walking out of that room before the guards come, by crossing the Kidron Valley outside the dark gates at night, and by hanging out in a garden waiting for the guards. And by the time they find where he is, even though he's prayed 3 times not to die for you, he knows it's the only way to get to you. And if you're like me for the first 20 years of my life, and I wondered, why does some dude 2,000 years ago stuck to a stick have to do with me? And why do I have to do something with him? It's because he was not a man, he was the Son of God, and he taught it and backed it up on every page. And he came to be a man that you and I can't be, and to pull off something that if he doesn't do for you, you will have to do. You see, I'm not trying to pick you out. It's for all of us. But because of how you've lived your life, you deserve death. And it's not just to die. We all will. You will be separated from God and all that is good and all that is holy for your entire life. Because I think we can all come to an understanding. If there is a heaven, if there is a great God, if he is holy, set apart, no sinners can be in heaven. Because the moment God allows a bunch of sinners in heaven, we're going to turn it into Vegas in like 3 months. And then he's like, crap, I got to go build another heaven. There's no sin in heaven. And it's you. And it's me. And you go, what have I done so wrong to deserve that? We weigh wrongs differently, don't we? My boy, when he was younger, had a bunch of friends over, and they were doing this big video game battle, and they were doing a big battle tournament. And then Amy's like, hey, I'm making everyone corn dogs and little dino nuggets. So everyone comes in the kitchen and he's in there, and Amy makes him a salad, and she asks his friends, do you guys want a salad? And of course every boy says no. But she tells Bear, I'm going to call him Bear because his name's Bear. She's going to say, Bear, you have to eat a salad. And one of his friends makes fun of him. You got to eat a salad. And Bear looks at his friend and goes, shut up. Now his older sister's in the kitchen, and she's all, you shouldn't tell your friends to shut up. And he looked at his older sister and goes, well, you can shut up too. Well, now my wife's sitting there. And Amy goes, hey, we're not going to talk like this at the table. And Bear looks at her and goes, Mom, you can shut up too. Did that strike you differently for some reason? I told you he told his buddy to shut up, and you're like, I said he told his mom to shut up. Why? Because you can tell your friend to shut up. You can tell your older sister, but you tell your mom to shut up. See, we weigh wrongs differently. How you treat authority depends on the authority. So what happens when you live your life apart from an almighty God and you tell God to shut up? See, we don't even, We count life differently. As I drive out of here tonight, a big bug hits my windshield. I just turn on the wipers. A lizard runs out in there. I don't even feel them. If I see a cat, I may get a cat. If I hit a dog, you're going to stop the car. You might want to get out, depending on what neighborhood you're in. And I'm going to look around and go, hey, is there an address, is there a number? Man, this is someone's dog. If I'm driving on the way out of here and I hit a kid, it's not a lizard. That's not a cat. We weigh wrongs differently. We weigh life differently. What happens when you have wronged your Creator? And what happens when you have taken your life from Him? He goes, I'm a loving God, but there has to be justice. I will hold you accountable to that. Or I will send my Son who made you. What is His life worth? Well, the life of a creator can, I guess, cover whatever He's created. And He will lay down His for you. And in return, He will ask for yours. And He will turn your career into a calling. And He will turn the people in your life into His ministry. And He will get you out of a prison because of a group of men will not let you go. And men that want to serve will grab you out of a bunk. And they will pray over you. And men will take every excuse that you have and still get you to a retreat when they want to serve and be like Christ. You show me a group of men that want to fight by surrender, and I'll show you a kingdom that's unstoppable. Do you know why so many men today have never experienced the Spirit of God in their life? Because they're expecting to be served. And you will never be more anti-Jesus than when you want to be lifted up and served. You want to start to encounter God working in your life? You drop your knees and you start washing feet. You will never be closer to Jesus than when you're serving. Now you know these things. You and the people in your life will start to be blessed if you can do it. Or go back to your career and just be greater than Jesus. He'll allow it. They've probably gotten to the Praetorium Guard by now. They're making their way through the streets. We need to all get down into the main street and get out to the garden. I'm about to show you how I fight battles. And I'm the only one that has to go down this night. And if I can't pull off Easter, don't buy a word of this. But if 2023 later, you still have it on your calendar, well, men, you're invited to the battle. And this is how we fight with a love that the world can't touch. And in the midst of that, you will encounter the work of a Christ that you will never find on your own. If that's what He had to say to His men then, I think that's all He wants to ask us to do tonight. You guys have got a lot to think about. Judas is on his way. As we walk through the valley and up to the garden, I want you to think about these words. Oh, by the way, I know you're all going to run from me. I know you'll come back and curse me 3 times. I know you don't deserve this. You don't earn it. You never will. I'm still pulling off the cross by myself. I'm going first, he said. You're invited to follow. It's going to go against who you are as an American man. It's going to go against your desires to build your kingdom and your career. It's going to against your natural and your masculine nature. But think about this as we go to the garden, because you're invited to follow. And for 2023, we've seen that type of warriors change the world. It's just an invitation. Think about it.